Well, if you can't beat them...
In my experience, the worst people to deal with are the athletes. None of them use condoms, really. So if y'all really want to try to come up off a check off a man, I mean, you could just fuck an athlete. They're really done.
Then you must join them.
I need another Clementine, and I need to give half to our friend here because she just rolled her eyes at me. And I'm perspicacious. I notice everything. She doesn't realize that I'm a ninja. Would you like some Clementine, my dear? I asked you a question. Would you like some
I would love some. Yeah.
You want some Clementine?
Yeah.
We're going to hook it up.
Okay.
Clementine's coming. So here's your Clementine.
Thank you.
And he peeled it.
Thank you.
I'm a gentleman.
I felt like he was really polite in person. I didn't expect him to be, like you said, so smiley, very warm. I will say that I do feel like he is pretty grounded. He is fair. There were just things, obviously, I just don't agree with about the being agreeable to the point of where it's not your own identity, but I also understood where he was coming from. I understood the perspective. I don't agree, but no, I felt like he was like so different in person, and I feel like that's why you can't really judge people based on that. So you've been through a lot, I've been through a lot. I'm seen as used goods, you're seen as a high value man. Yep. So if you're me, then what?
It's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed for going through things and surviving. I don't know your history, I don't know the past, but we can just talk in general. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure. He's got a lot of life experience. Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. What's keeping her here? Part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man so that he feels like you really truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet.
Now, we all know who that is. I don't have to have any introduction about who that is. That's Brittany Renner, and that's Andrew Tate, the top G, recently arrested top G. But nevertheless, famous internet thought and Andrew Tate were recently on the JustPearlyThings show. God, that's an interesting combination. That's a nasty combination. But out of all the things that happened there, I wanted to talk about the fact that when you run out of avenues on the internet, people always turn to grifting. Now, grifting is the art of getting into a community in which you don't really see yourself in, or you don't necessarily believe in the ideology, but you do see a way to make money. You're a snake oil salesman. You dress up pretty fancy. You go into this community. You spread a lot of rhetoric. Ultimately, you don't live this lifestyle, but you do see a way to make money. And I wholeheartedly believe that about like half of the manosphere. So your Andrew Tates, your Fresh and Fits, your Kevin Samuels, those people populated the manosphere and didn't even necessarily belong per se. Well, maybe they belong because of their message, but ultimately because of the fact that they didn't live that lifestyle. Kevin Samuels was a person who was selling clothes outside of Lenox Mall before he turned his content around. A once male help guy that was talking about fashion and designer things turned his stuff into how can I attack women, and rose to the tops of the manosphere to be known as the Godfather, even in death. And now some new challengers of this grift, some of the biggest pick-me's, are starting to be the women, led by a JustPearlyThings. Now, if you don't know, this is Pearl. That is one of the earlier videos from JustPearlyThings with an ex-boyfriend of hers. His name escapes me at the moment, but this boyfriend of hers broke her heart, dumped her, and Pearl from that moment on switched up her content and her rhetoric. You may know her from some of her clips.
If you take away child support, people have to face the consequences for their action immediately. So if you're going to pick a reckless husband that's going to leave you for a younger model in 10 years, you'll face the consequence.
100%.
If you're going to leave him and take half, like you can't take half anymore. So if you want to leave, you have to really think about it. And to me, this would put the child's best interests at heart, because there are more consequences for leaving, and a child is at risk if there's one parent in the home.
I think most billionaires, that even if they've been married with their wife for 20, 30 years, they seem like good women, and they get a divorce, like they're usually fine after. They're still doing great things. Jeff Bezos, same with Microsoft guy. I think men are great, and if like a great man's going to be a great man regardless if he has a woman or not.
It depends on what is.
Genghis Khan, I think, would still conquer the world even if he didn't have a main. I don't know what his
Einstein would have still done what he was doing.
I didn't say that they wouldn't. I just said if you have the right woman beside you, you're even better. That's what I think.
Well, I think sure. Like I think it's better to have the right woman, but I don't think they really play a part in a man's success. Not really.
I do.
My dad, even though my mom like helped him build his business and she did help a lot, I would still say he would have done the same thing even without her.
If this was Pearl's world, I'd get rid of birth control. I'd ban it, but that'll never happen. I think that's the root of all evil.
Say it.
I don't think women should vote.
Huh?
I don't think women should vote. No, because it's always freedom without responsibility. And
I
so
love
like
it.
the
Women
reason
should not vote.
No,
Pearly
but
said it herself.
I'll tell you why though. I'll tell you why. Because it was freedom without responsibility. Like I believe in consequences for your decision. So the men know if they vote someone batshit crazy into power, you guys get drafted. We don't. Women decide elections. We're 55% of the population. I think if we want to vote, equally draft us. Y'all want equality. And personally, I don't want to get drafted, so I'll be in the kitchen.
Pandering is going to get people nowhere in life. And there seems to be a theme when you come across like content like this, is that they get a bunch of people on a panel, preferably women. They handpick these women to fit some narrative that they're trying to portray in this episode. And they ask them a bunch of baity questions to paint them in a corner without any, ability for these women to have a real opportunity to defend themselves or even get people who are intelligent enough to have a conversation in the proper manner. So a thing that like, Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fit, or even Pearly Things do is that they get people on these shows, ask them questions that they have or been researched some facts or topics or stats or conversation points to rebut. And the person that's coming in is coming in completely blind on this topic manner. So it's easy to paint them in a corner when you're not doing a good faith argument. And so then they say a bunch of triggering things and it makes them blow up on camera and they get their clip and they go viral on the internet, while ultimately the conversation just goes nowhere. But it wasn't in good faith from the start. And so just like the others that I've named, Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels, Pearly Things is another one who just doesn't live this lifestyle. If she practiced the things that she preached in her content, I would believe it. But as far as I understand, she's still a single woman. She's delved deep into her work and her career. And although she's found success there, has she found happiness? Nobody ever flips the script on her. But I don't even know if they're allowed to flip the script on her. Hell, is there anybody that she ever brings on that's intelligent enough to flip the script? So then you have a bunch of women who are women bashers. This is a new form of content. And it has the males in the manosphere even more excited because they will always point to her and the auntie that's on the show and that one woman that's masquerading around as a traditional housewife or traditional woman, the trad woman phase. They'll always lean back on those people and say, well, hey, this woman understands. This is a bright spot in a bad community. And people know my stances on relationship content. The divide between the two genders is not real. When you're actually out there living life and you're actually out there dating, it's not real. Now, if you get caught behind the computer screen and you get caught up in the content that's being put out there and being pushed in your face, you might think that it's real. You might think that women are gold diggers, men have it so bad out here, or niggas ain't shit and women have nothing to look forward to in life. But ultimately, that's if you fall victim to these circumstances and situations and communities and circles that you put yourself in. If you go out there and date, you'll realize, hey, that was a bunch of internet malarkey and I don't have to believe what they're saying to me. And so you'll see a common theme about all these people. Kevin Samuels, divorced, not a real relationship with his child. Andrew Tate, single. Fresh and Fit, single. Dating, but single. Just Pearly Things, single. All these people have one thing that connects them all together. And no, it's not the fact that they bash women, it's the fact that they're single. Mind you, I would think if they had the actual key to what success is, they would be more successful in the dating sphere, in the relationship sphere. They would be married. They would be married for a long time, happy, all this, that, and the third. But for whatever reason, they're single. But moving on to Brittany Renner. So what happens in a lot of times on the internet, if you look at the people who have been long lasting on the internet, they turn to sides of the internet that can favor them or serve them in that moment of time. They might have started off as maybe a gamer and then they went to, I don't know, sneakers or something like that. And then they got into relationship content. And before you know it, they're bashing women. So Brittany Renner started off as an IG model, video vixen, beautiful woman, was in a bunch of stuff with rappers and got casted as the internet's hoe of the month. And from being the internet's hoe of the month, she saw success with her own book, talking about how she flew across the country to be with Colin Kaepernick and nothing came about that. And then she ended up being with PJ Washington and got pregnant and had a baby, and they ended up splitting, and a bunch of people were blaming her and picking sides and stuff. And then she went on to go to Jackson State while Deion Sanders was there and talked to those kids about avoiding certain women in the industry and how they can stay on the right path, that they don't fall to the trap that is women and gold diggers. She goes on to be on like Fresh and Fit and Academics, and here she is with the top G in Pearly Things. She's come full circle.
I hate how I allowed myself to just be like used up by men. And that came from a lack of self-worth. I did not understand my value that I was born with. I didn't. And I gave, again, people look at sex differently, but sex is spiritual unification. At the end of the day, I don't care how you spin it. It's spiritual.
For women.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
for
women.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. For women. It's spiritual unification. And people that I shared my body with, when I think about my list, it's repulsive because they didn't deserve it. But that was an outcome of me discounting my worth. And it's disgusting. I hate even having that spiritual tie in any type of way. But yeah, I would absolutely change sexually how I move around. And not even necessarily because of like the societal outcome. It's more so from my self-worth.
Like, what's how it makes you like feel.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good knowing that you gave a sacred part of you to a man that looked at sex with you as taking a piss. It's not fulfilling. It's disgusting to think about. And I feel like I've beat myself up every single day for my decisions. And what people say about me online holds no candle to what I've told myself on a daily basis. Like I've been called worse by better, and that better being me.
A compelling revelation, one that I think is ultimately like healthy and maybe can get you forward in life if you're dealing with like some demons and stuff like that. But who she is sitting next to and surrounding herself with as she makes that revelation is very important. Knowing that these two characters on the internet push agendas that further a divide between men and women in relationships. Whew. When you come to a revelation like that, it almost gives them and their community and their audience that they're catering to some sort of credibility. Hey, we found the internet's hoe, and now she is confirming our beliefs on our couch. She is confirming our rhetoric on our couch, and that's a win for us. We transformed one of them. We transformed an icon in the whole game. As soon as we get Cardi B and a Meg Thee Stallion and a Glorilla on the couch, we get them to transform. We'll have done it all, and we will save these people. In reality, though, this rhetoric is harmful. But like I said, Brittany Renner is a reindeer. She's a very strategic person. So now she's going to take this and use it for her own nefarious grift.
First of all, hi. As a former loud and proud man hater, here are 5 things that have changed the game for me. Number 1, I realized I didn't hate men. I hated the way I allowed myself to be mistreated by men. Big difference, right? You are not a victim. You are a participant. And when you point the finger, you miss out on the opportunity to grow. Number 2, I stopped saying I didn't need a man, because if I want a relationship with a man, then I need one, right? Okay, that's that on that. 3, I stopped entertaining stragglers. And stragglers are guys you meet along the way that you know you're not really ever going to take seriously, but you use them for your own personal entertainment. Number 1, that's wrong. Number 2, you're sending a mixed message. Stay committed to what you want. Number 4, accountability. Ooh. I analyzed my behavior and what parts of me resonated with these men I deemed problematic. I'm here to tell you that the call is coming from inside the house, and it's time to pick up. And number 5, you can't be that serious about getting picked if you're not in the gym at least 3 times a week. You don't even take care of yourself, so how would you expect someone to take care of you?
You see that? That right there. That's it right there. Mind you, I think the rest of her commentary on the situation is very much generic. I mean, ultimately it's generic stuff. Accountability. Yeah, that's something great that every person should have in their own life. I'm not going to date any stragglers. Yeah, that's also pretty cool. If you have a purpose and a mission, that's good to be with. Acknowledging the fact that you might participate in some of the nonsense as opposed to being somebody who is just always a victim. Okay, this is all good, but when you sprinkle in some of those toxic and I know people hate those words, those ick words in your content and rhetoric, there it is. You just reinforce it. And the dummies in your comment section believe you. They stand by it. Tate humbled you. The Tate effect. picked. Looks like another tater tot. But are we serious about saying that if you're not in the gym at least 3 times a week, you're not serious about being picked? You're not serious about being chose? Here we go, pushing that same old tired rhetoric. This is stupid. I'm not saying that health and wellness is not a great aspect in life, but you can still be serious about being picked and not succumb to these fat phobic talking points. All these things are not things that affect people in real life. Big people are happy and in happy relationships, unlike you in real life. But this is just another form of grift gone wild. I mean, we see the Hodge twins now, from funny, laughable, meathead twins reacting to things on the internet, telling stories about how they were kids and they got into a bunch of different shenanigans. And now they are the most right-wingest of right-wingy black people on the internet. You go where the money resides, and maybe that's where entertainment takes you. As an entertainer on the internet, it takes you from different place to place to place to place. But if that's the way that it has to roll, where I have to at some point talk down on people to continue being in the internet spotlight, then I'll wrap this shit up right now.